We recently found out that Dmitry Bivol vacated the WBC belt. Instead of turning around and defending against David Benavidez, who the WBC mandated, he just walked away from the whole thing. And let's be perfectly honest with each other, this shouldn't come as a surprise. Okay, number one, I interviewed Artur Beterbiev's assistant trainer, John Scully. Listen to what he had to say happened directly after the fight. You think we're going to see a third match between these guys? Or you think we're going to, like the WBC just mandated David Benavidez for Bivol? Or do you think like Turkey's going to throw some money around and we're going to get another a rubber match between them?
My gut feeling after the fight, and I can't remember who it was, somebody connected to the fight. I don't know who it was. They came over to our corner right after it was over. And they said, we're doing the third fight. Like the third fight's next, So whoever that was, I forget who it was, but whoever it was somebody big in the promotional company, and they were that was their first reaction. We're doing it again.
So think about that. Right after the fight, Turkey Al-Sheikh and his guys, they were already working on making this rubber match. And everybody needs to understand that when the money man speaks, people listen. Okay? Everybody's there to get paid. Okay, Bivol has probably made more in these last two fights than he's made in the entire course of his career combined. Like, these dudes are making a lot of money. So when Turkey Al-Sheikh says, this is the fight that I want, says it right after the fight, he already mentions it. Comes out later in Ring Magazine, says the exact same thing. I don't want the Benavidez fight. I'm not interested in it. If Bivol is smart, he's going to remember who brought him to the dance. He's going to remember who's taking care of him. He's going to remember who set up the fight that got him all of the belts and all of the glory that comes with being undisputed and got his payday bigger than he's ever gotten before. So when you think about it from that perspective, of course he was going to not fight Benavidez, but that doesn't make it a duck. That doesn't make it a duck. Okay, just because he chose not to fight him is not the same as ducking a guy. When you duck a guy, you're choosing not to fight him because you're scared of getting the loss. You're scared of how that fight's going to turn out. I use the term scared loosely. I don't mean like he's actually fearful of it, but you're worried that it's going to happen. You think that it might happen. You think there's a high probability of it. So a guy avoids that fight and goes somewhere else. That's what a duck is. When he turns around and decides that he's not going to fight him because there's a bigger payday over here, that's not the same as a duck. Not to mention the fact that if we're really looking at it, you might be able to make the argument that there's more historical value, historical precedence, more prestige that comes with the rubber match in Beterbiev versus turn around and fighting Benavidez. Because we know how people are. We know how the fans look at things. And if we're being honest with each other, we know that if this third fight didn't happen, people would look at that as unfinished business. People would turn around and have something to say with that, like, oh, he lost the first fight, but then as soon as he turns around and wins one, he doesn't want anything to do with Beterbiev anymore and he leaves. Now, personally, I think Bivol is going to come into this third fight as a favorite, so I think that argument would be tough to make. But that's the type of thing that people would say when you fight these two fights, 24 rounds these two fought, and they were close rounds, close fights. How do you not get that third one when on top of it, the icing on the cake is just a massive amount of money that you know is going to come with it? So the fact that he's not fighting Benavidez, the fact that Bivol is walking away from the WBC belt shouldn't surprise anybody. In most regards, this was the logical move to make. It just so happens that David Benavidez loses out again, man. And this dude is such a good fighter, man. He is an awesome fighter. And we saw what happened with him when he was the mandatory with Canelo. And now we see what happens with him when he's the mandatory with Bivol. So dude is just on the bad end of the stick, getting some raw deals. Doesn't change the fact that he's young, awesome fighter. He's going to be able to build his legacy before this is all said and done. And it's going to be etched in stone.